Have you ever wondered what truly makes a person wise or foolish? More importantly, have you ever been in a relationship where something just felt off? Maybe you couldn't quite put your finger on it, but something about the way she handled conflict, emotions, or decisions made everything feel unstable. What if I told you that Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, had already outlined the key traits that separate wisdom from foolishness, traits that apply just as much today as they did 2,000 years ago? In this video, we'll explore 6 signs of a foolish woman, as seen through the lens of Stoic philosophy. But before we dive in, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel, because what you're about to learn could change your love life forever. Sign number 1, she is ruled by her emotions. Have you ever been in a relationship where everything seemed perfect one moment and then, out of nowhere, it turned into chaos? You're sitting there, confused, wondering what just happened. Maybe you made a harmless joke, but suddenly she's furious. Maybe you forgot to text her back for an hour, and now she's convinced you don't care. Maybe you're just trying to have a calm conversation, but she's raising her voice, accusing you of things that don't even make sense. Does this sound familiar? If so, you might have experienced what it's like to be with someone who is completely ruled by their emotions. The roller coaster of an emotionally unstable woman. Imagine this: you've had a long day at work. All you want is to come home, relax, and spend some quality time with her. But the second you walk in, she gives you the cold shoulder. You ask what's wrong, and she says, "Nothing. It's fine." But you know it's not fine. Her energy is off. Her tone is distant. You push a little, trying to understand, and suddenly, boom, she explodes. She brings up something you did last week, last month, or even last year. Something you don't even remember. Now you're stuck in a fight you didn't even know you started. How do you even respond to that? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." But a foolish woman doesn't live by this principle. Instead, her emotions control her. If she's angry, she wants you to suffer. If she's insecure, she'll start unnecessary arguments. If she's feeling down, she expects you to fix it. And the worst part? There is no logic behind it. You can be the most loving, caring, and understanding partner, but it won't matter because her emotions dictate reality. How this destroys relationships. Now let's be real for a second. Every person, no matter how wise, has emotions. We all feel anger, sadness, jealousy, or frustration, but the difference is how we handle them. A wise woman pauses before reacting. She reflects on her emotions. She asks herself, am I overreacting? Is this a real problem or just my mood talking? But a foolish woman, she doesn't pause. She doesn't reflect. She reacts. And when emotions rule over reason, relationships suffer. Think about your past relationships for a second. Have you ever felt like you were walking on eggshells? Like no matter what you said or did, it could be turned into a fight? If so, you know how exhausting it is. You stop being yourself. You start filtering your words. You start avoiding conversations. And eventually, you just stop caring. That's how relationships die. Not from big betrayals, but from the slow erosion of peace. The truth about emotional maturity. So here's the real question. How do you know if she's wise or foolish when it comes to emotions? Simple, ask yourself. Can she calm herself down when she's upset? Does she listen when you try to explain your side? Does she apologize when she's wrong, or does she always justify her behavior? A wise woman knows that emotions are temporary, but actions have lasting consequences. A foolish woman acts on impulse and later regrets it, but by then the damage is done. And let's be clear, this isn't just about romantic relationships. If a woman cannot control her emotions, she will create chaos in every part of her life. She will fight with her friends. She will sabotage her career. She will make reckless decisions. And if you're with her, you will pay the price for her lack of control. Final thought, your peace matters. At the end of the day, relationships should bring you peace, not constant stress. A woman who is ruled by emotions will turn your life into a never-ending battle. And no matter how much you love her, you cannot fix someone who doesn't want to change. So ask yourself, do you want a partner who builds you up, or someone who drains you? Because the answer to that question will determine the future of your love life. Sign number 2, she blames others for everything. Have you ever been in a relationship where nothing is ever her fault? You argue and somehow you're always the villain. Something goes wrong in her life. And instead of taking responsibility, she finds a way to blame someone else. Think about your past relationships for a second. Have you ever had a moment where you sat there, completely confused, wondering, how did this become my fault? If so, you might have been with a woman who refuses to take responsibility, a trait that Marcus Aurelius would call a sign of weakness and foolishness, the never-ending blame game. Imagine this: you and your girlfriend are planning a weekend trip. You tell her weeks in advance to book the hotel, and she says she'll handle it. The weekend arrives. You pack your bags, get in the car, and then she drops the bomb: she forgot to make the reservation. Naturally, you're frustrated, but instead of owning up to the mistake, she says, "Well, you should have reminded me. You didn't seem that excited about the trip anyway. Why do I always have to be the one to plan things?" Suddenly, it's no longer about her forgetting, it's about you not doing enough. Sound familiar? Marcus Aurelius once said, "You must take life the way it comes, but you should make the best of it as it happens." A wise woman understands this. A foolish woman does not. Why this mentality is dangerous. Here's the real problem. A woman who refuses to take responsibility will never learn from her mistakes. And if she never learns, she never grows. And if she never grows, guess what? She will repeat the same toxic patterns over and over again. If she loses her job, it's because her boss was unfair. If she fights with her friends, it's because they were jealous. If she has a history of bad relationships, all her exes were toxic. Never once does she stop and think, maybe I need to change something. Now think about your love life. Have you ever been in a relationship where no matter how much you tried to explain your side, she just wouldn't listen? A woman like this doesn't want solutions. She doesn't want growth. She just wants someone to blame. And trust me that someone will always be you. How this kills relationships. Relationships require accountability. Both people must be able to say, "I was wrong. I should have handled that better." But a foolish woman can't do this. Instead, she will twist the situation so that you look like the bad guy, bring up old mistakes you made years ago just to win the argument. Play the victim, making you feel guilty even when you did nothing wrong. And over time, this destroys a relationship. Why? Because you stop feeling heard, you stop feeling respected, and worst of all, you stop feeling like a team. A relationship should be a partnership, not a battlefield where one person is always losing. The big question, is she self-aware? Here's something to think about. When was the last time she apologized and truly meant it? Not a half-hearted, "I guess I'm sorry, but you made me act that way." Not an apology followed by 10 reasons why she's still right. A real, genuine apology that shows self-awareness. If you can't remember the last time she truly owned up to a mistake, that's a red flag you cannot ignore. Final thought, the hard truth about blame. A foolish woman will spend her life pointing fingers instead of fixing herself. But a wise woman understands that the only way to improve is to take responsibility. Marcus Aurelius said, "It is not the external events that hurt us, but how we choose to react to them." A woman who blames others for everything will always be a prisoner to her own excuses. And if you stay with her, you will become her prisoner too. So ask yourself, do you want to be with someone who takes responsibility or someone who always makes you the problem? Sign number 3, she seeks constant validation. Have you ever been with someone who always needed attention? No matter how much you reassured her, no matter how much you showed your love, it was never enough. She always needed more compliments, more social media likes, more attention from strangers. If you've been in a relationship like this, you know how exhausting it is. It's like trying to fill a bottomless cup. No matter how much love you pour in, it's never full. And the worst part? She starts looking for validation from other people. The never-ending hunger for attention. Imagine this, you're out on a dinner date. You've been planning this night for weeks. The food is great, the atmosphere is perfect, and you're excited to have some deep, meaningful conversations. But the entire time she's glued to her phone. She keeps taking selfies, checking her notifications, and scrolling through social media. You try to engage her in conversation, but she barely hears you. Why? Because she's more focused on what strangers online think of her than the person sitting right in front of her. Marcus Aurelius once said, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." A foolish woman doesn't live by this principle. She doesn't feel confident unless other people tell her she should. And that is a dangerous mentality to have in a relationship. The hidden insecurity behind validation. At first, it might not seem like a big deal. After all, everyone enjoys a little validation. But with a foolish woman, it's not just occasional, it's constant. She needs likes to feel beautiful. She needs attention from men to feel wanted. She needs external praise to feel valuable. And here's where it gets worse: your love is never enough. You could tell her she's beautiful every single day. But the second she's not getting attention from the outside world, she starts feeling insecure. And when she feels insecure, she starts seeking validation elsewhere. How this destroys relationships. Think about this: have you ever had a girlfriend who craved male attention? Even while in a relationship, she posts revealing pictures and gets upset if they don't get enough likes. She flirts with other guys, but insists it doesn't mean anything. She constantly needs reassurance, but never truly believes your words. A woman like this will never be fully present in the relationship, because deep down, she's not actually happy with herself. And let me tell you something hard but true: you cannot fix this for her. A woman who needs external validation is like someone drinking salt water. The more she consumes, the thirstier she gets. And eventually it will drown your relationship. The question you need to ask: here's what I want you to think about. Does she value your opinion? Or does she only care about what strangers think? Because if her self-worth is based on outside validation, you will never be able to make her feel whole. Final thought: real confidence comes from within. A wise woman knows that confidence comes from within, not from the approval of others. But a foolish woman is always chasing validation, and in doing so, she destroys the relationship she already has. Marcus Aurelius would remind us, a person's worth is measured by the worth of what they value. So ask yourself, does she value real connection, or just the illusion of it? Sign number 4, she loves drama. Have you ever been in a relationship where peace never lasts? One day everything is great, you're laughing, sharing deep conversations, feeling like you've finally found someone who understands you. And then, out of nowhere, she starts a fight. Maybe she accuses you of not caring enough. Maybe she brings up something small and turns it into a huge argument. Maybe she just feels bored and needs excitement. If you've ever felt this way, you weren't crazy. You were just with a woman who loves drama. And let me tell you, this is one of the biggest red flags in a relationship. Why some women crave drama. Now let's be real. Every relationship has disagreements. That's normal. But a foolish woman, she doesn't just argue, she thrives on chaos. She doesn't want solutions. She doesn't want peace. She wants the thrill of fighting, the intensity of making up, the emotional highs and lows that come with constant conflict. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." A wise woman chooses calm, understanding, and problem solving. But a foolish woman, she chooses drama, conflict, and emotional outbursts. How drama creeps into your relationship. Picture this: you're finally having a stress-free weekend. You're watching a movie, relaxing, just enjoying the moment. And then out of nowhere, she turns to you and says, "Why don't you love me like you used to?" You're confused. Nothing happened, no argument, no change in your behavior. You ask her what she means, and suddenly you're in a fight. She brings up things from the past. She twists your words. She accuses you of not caring. And no matter how much you try to reassure her, it only makes things worse. Sound familiar? That's because drama queens don't need a reason to fight, they just need an excuse. She picks fights over nothing just to stir emotions. She plays the victim to make you feel guilty. She overreacts to small problems and turns them into crises. And here's the worst part: if there's no drama, she creates it. Why drama kills relationships? At first you might think maybe she's just emotional. Maybe you tell yourself that she just cares too much. But over time it drains you. You start walking on eggshells, afraid of setting her off. You stop expressing yourself honestly because you know it'll lead to an argument. You lose your peace of mind, constantly stressed about the next outburst. And let me tell you, this is not love. A healthy relationship is built on trust, understanding, and emotional stability. But with a woman who loves drama, it's built on chaos, manipulation, and constant tension. The hard truth about drama queens. If you're with a woman like this, I want you to ask yourself, do you feel more drained than happy in this relationship? Because here's the truth. A woman who loves drama will never stop creating it. You will never have peace because peace is boring to her. No matter how much you love her, you cannot fix someone who doesn't want peace. Marcus Aurelius would remind us, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If she constantly chooses negativity, fights, and stress, that is the reality she will create for herself and for you. Final thought: love should be peaceful. A wise woman knows that a relationship should be a safe place, not a battlefield. But a foolish woman? She confuses love with conflict and passion with pain. So, ask yourself, are you with someone who brings peace or someone who brings chaos? Sign number 5, she lacks emotional maturity. Have you ever been in a relationship where every disagreement turns into a full-blown meltdown? You try to talk things through like an adult, but instead of listening, she pouts, gives you the silent treatment, or throws a tantrum like a child. It doesn't matter if you're being logical. It doesn't matter if you're being patient. The moment she doesn't get her way, she shuts down or worse, lashes out. If you've ever been in a relationship like this, you know how exhausting it is. What emotional immaturity looks like in a relationship. Picture this: you had a long day at work. You come home hoping for a quiet evening. But the second you walk in, she's upset about something. You ask her what's wrong, and she says, "You should already know." You're confused. You try to figure it out, but no matter what you say, it's the wrong answer. Instead of just telling you what's bothering her, she makes you guess. And when you don't get it right, she storms off, slamming doors, sulking, or giving you the cold shoulder for hours. Does this sound familiar? Marcus Aurelius once said, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." But a foolish woman is not calm. She reacts on impulse, lets her emotions control her, and refuses to handle conflict in a mature way. The signs of emotional immaturity. A woman who lacks emotional maturity will play mind games instead of communicating openly, expect you to read her mind and get mad when you don't, overreact to small issues as if they are the end of the world, blame you for her emotions instead of taking responsibility. And the worst part? She never learns. Instead of growing and improving, she repeats the same toxic behaviors over and over again because in her mind, she is never the problem. Why this kills relationships? Relationships require understanding, communication, and emotional stability. But if she lacks emotional maturity, every conversation turns into a fight. Every mistake becomes a personal attack. Every disagreement feels like a war. You stop wanting to talk about your feelings because you know she won't listen. You stop expressing yourself because you know it'll lead to drama. You stop feeling safe because you never know what might set her off. And eventually you stop caring altogether. That's how love dies, not in one big explosion, but in the slow erosion of emotional safety. The hard truth, you can't fix this. If she refuses to take responsibility for her emotions, nothing you do will change her. You cannot force her to grow up. You cannot teach her emotional stability. You cannot be her therapist, her babysitter, or her emotional punching bag. Marcus Aurelius would remind us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. If she lacks emotional maturity, her chaos will become your chaos. And the longer you stay, the more drained you will feel. Final thought, love should be mature. A wise woman understands that love is about communication, not control. But a foolish woman, she lets her emotions dictate everything, destroying the relationship in the process. So ask yourself, do you want a partner who brings stability or someone who makes life harder? Sign number 6, she doesn't respect you. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in a relationship where you felt invisible? Where no matter what you did, it was never enough? Where she spoke to you with sarcasm, dismissed your feelings, or even embarrassed you in front of others? If so, then you know what it feels like to be with a woman who doesn't respect you. And trust me, this is one of the biggest signs of a foolish woman. What disrespect looks like in a relationship. At first, it might not seem like a big deal. Maybe she jokes about you in front of her friends, calling you lazy or useless. Maybe she constantly interrupts you when you're speaking, acting like your opinions don't matter. But over time, the small moments add up and suddenly, you realize you don't feel valued in this relationship. Now take a second and think about your past relationships. Have you ever had a woman talk down to you like you were a child? Have you ever felt unheard, like your feelings didn't matter? Have you ever noticed her treating strangers better than she treats you? If the answer is yes, then deep down, you already know she never truly respected you. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." In other words, you don't have to fight back, argue, or beg for her respect. You just have to walk away. How disrespect creeps into your relationship. Imagine this, you're out with friends, and someone brings up an argument you and your girlfriend had. You laugh it off, but she takes the opportunity to publicly humiliate you. She says something like, "Oh, don't even get me started on how sensitive he is." He can't handle anything without overreacting. Everyone laughs. But inside you feel something shift. It's subtle, but it's a sign that she doesn't see you as her equal. She criticizes you more than she compliments you. She controls you instead of supporting you. She expects respect but never gives it back. And worst of all, she never apologizes. Because in her mind, she's right and your feelings don't matter. Why this destroys relationships? Respect is the foundation of love. Without it, there is no trust, no partnership, and no real connection. If a woman doesn't respect you, she will never truly value your efforts. She will never treat you as her equal. She will never see you as a man worthy of love. And let me tell you, if she doesn't respect you now, she never will. The hard truth, you deserve better. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." In other words, stop trying to prove your worth to someone who refuses to see it. A woman who truly loves you will respect you, listen to you, and value your presence. A foolish woman will tear you down, control you, and make you feel small. So ask yourself, are you with someone who lifts you up, or someone who slowly destroys your confidence? Final thought, love without respect is nothing. A wise woman knows that respect is non-negotiable in a relationship, but a foolish woman, she takes her man for granted until it's too late. Now let's be clear, everyone has flaws. No one is perfect. But the difference between a wise woman and a foolish woman is this. A wise woman recognizes her flaws and works to improve them. A foolish woman defends them, repeats them, and refuses to change. The choice is yours. Choose wisely. And with that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.